Okay, one important thing, next Wednesday, we have our invited speakers from a company called International Business Online, I think. I was just looking at their website. So let me go ahead and show their website so that you are, it's ibt.onl. Okay, so are you seeing my screen right now? Oh, wait, what am I sharing? Am I sharing my screen?
You just were.
Wait a minute. Okay, now is the share screen. Okay, are you seeing my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you. So IBT Online, okay, International Business and Technology, and I think they provide a lot of marketing services for various different companies that are especially interested in agriculture products and things like that. And their focus is on exports, sales, brand, and business at a global scale. Okay, so I came across them, then I thought maybe it's a good set of people to come and talk to our class, and you can see, what are all the things that they are doing. And global sales is a type of supply chain as well. So I have asked them to talk about it. And they have a lot of client testimonials. And, I was just reading and watching a few of them. They do have a very active social media presence because most of their marketing or most of their operations are through through online. So, they are pretty adept at that. So I encourage you to, not miss next Wednesday's class. And we will be seeing a few more of, our speakers. In fact, I got another yes from another speaker today, actually yesterday evening. So I am working on all these speakers in the coming classes. Okay, so just be aware of that. So you are welcome to go and take a look at that. Let me just quickly type it in the chat box, ibt.onl. Okay, so I encourage you to go and take a look at that thing there. Okay, so we will be touching on this next Wednesday. But today it's Friday, right? So we are here to talk about supply chains. So as you have been looking at quite a few things, I have been showing you, various ways how the value can be created via supply chains and what are the different things. So here is a quick, recap of what we did last class. So this is a supply chain. Your suppliers, you process the inputs into output, you distribute, and the customers get it. Now you can also think of it as upstream and downstream. I made this thing, like a vertical that you can see why it is called an upstream. So if you are getting it from, let us say, your suppliers, it's often called as upstream. And if you are distributing it to your customers, it's called downstream. And as you can see here, supply chain is referred to the entire chain or only this particular portion of the chain where you are getting it from the suppliers to yourself. And they may use a different term such as distribution channels when it goes from you to the customer. So there are different ways how you can think about it. I probably have to redo the animations because they are not coming out evenly. So I will work on that later. Okay. So we looked at this Porter's value chain in the last class, and many of you have started filling out clicker questions, and there are some clicker questions based on this. On that, I wanted to mention that this one, I don't know whether I can zoom it in. So these are the total scores for the clicker question. So far, about 27 points have been laid out, and the average score is only 16%. Okay, it's not so great. I would encourage you to take the clicker questions more seriously and start doing them. And you can see that some students are already doing very well, and some students are not doing well. They are losing points. Now, believe me, this is easily 1 to 2 letter grades in terms of your overall score, okay, in the clicker questions, because you are telling me that you are paying attention and you are also getting the concepts right. So it's very important. So do not underestimate the clicker questions, okay? So maybe if you want to take a minute, I will give it to you. You are welcome to go to the Top Hat link, and I will probably copy paste that for you in the chat. And you are welcome to go there and answer a few questions on that are available for you. Okay, so it's 12:45. I will talk again in 12:47. Take a minute or two to answer some of the questions that you may not have answered so far. I think the students in the classroom may have already answered. Maybe there are some new concepts that are coming up today that we will be talking about. So maybe I will change the date to September 9th so that I can keep track of it. And there are some questions based on the supply chain principles that we briefly touched upon, and that is what we will be focusing in the next few minutes. And if you have already completed these, that's okay. I encourage you to open the email that I sent yesterday or day for yesterday evening, and today morning again I resent it. And this is the email I'm referring to, that you can see that we are meeting via Zoom, and these are the things that we do. Okay, so our focus is going to be entirely on these 7 principles. Why am I spending lots of time on this? Mainly because our course title is called as Supply Chain Principles. Okay, Principles of Agribusiness and Food Supply Chain. So I thought I will spend some time on these supply chains. Okay, any questions before we continue to move on? There are 14 students in the classroom right now. Thanks for that. I really appreciate that. Any questions? You are welcome to chat, type anything in, any questions, raise your hand and ask anything, okay? So having said that, let me go ahead, share the screen, and go to the very last portion, okay? And as you can see here, I keep updating these slides over and over again. So as I was telling on Wednesday, if you think about this course in 5 to 10 years, okay, I spent this time in this course, what are the things that I have to learn from this course? And they are these 7 principles of supply chains. In my econ class, there are 10 principles of economics that some of you may remember. And then I wanted to, kind of give the same type of principles for supply chain as well. And those supply chain principles are given here, okay? So what is the first one? The first one essentially talks about the customers. Everything starts with the customer and ends with the customer, okay? So adapting the supply chain to customer needs. This is really, really important. In fact, on Monday, we will be spending a lot of time on customer needs and how the supply chain can match it. So what are the needs of the customer that supply chain have to deal with it differently? So we will be talking about this on Monday. In fact, you might have done the course, marketing, principles of fundamentals of marketing. I think that is called, that's the name of that course, which is all about customers' needs. And in this principle, in this course, we will talk about how supply chain is used or can be adapted to meet those customers' needs. So that is principle number 1. And I have been telling this over and over again. Begin with the end in sight, okay? Customer is the one who is ultimately going to buy or use the product. And if the customer needs are not met, then there's no point in creating a supply chain, creating a business, doing the marketing, doing the promotions, and moving the product from here to there to your retailer or something like that. So customer needs are important. Now, when it comes to the next principle, okay, so customer needs are important. Now, after figuring out the customer needs, you have to figure out how you are going to move your product to the customer. And that is where the logistics come into picture. So what do I mean by logistics? Essentially, the physical movement of products, okay, or even services. For instance, if you are selling tractors and the farmer wants to get the tractor serviced, are they going to bring it to your facility or are you going to go there? That is logistics. Okay, and you have to customize it to meet the needs of the customer. So here, these chapter numbers refer to the book that we use. In addition, I also have given some links. Okay, so I'm just going to, I don't know whether I can click on these ones. Oops, can you click or not click on this? I thought I can click on them. Wait. I put everything and then I am ultimately unable to click. I don't know. So let me go ahead and click on this one. So this is the link that I am trying to go to. Cloud anylogic.com. Okay, so if you are following along, I am sending this via chat and you can click on this. So this is a software which we will come across later in the semester, which kind of shows, how do you form the supply chain, or you have formed a supply chain, how effective it is in terms of, reducing the costs, in terms of meeting the needs of the customer, in terms of making sure that the quality doesn't deteriorate when it goes from the warehouse to the customer, all those different things. So here there are some very nice ways of looking at it. So I'm just going to click on this particular model. It's kind of an interesting one. It kind of shows a supply chain for, a product somewhere in Europe. As you can see here, there are a bunch of factories. There's one factory where the product is being manufactured, and then DC. DC stands for distribution centers, and how they go to distribution centers, and from there, how do they go to the subcontractor if somebody is working on it. And finally, after working on this product by the subcontractor, it goes to these green dots or green boxes. They are the customer locations. So that is a supply chain. Now, why am I showing that we have to customize the logistics? All the trucks that are moving around, okay, let me just speed it up just for the fun of it. It's like, they are all going really fast. You can see, so this is like, at a very high speed. You are going at a much faster speed to see what is happening. Now, what is happening? You need to know, and that is where I'm going to click on statistics. When I click on this, so when you are running a supply chain, you have to know how well you are doing, okay? So what are the things that they are keeping track of in this particular page? You can do anything, okay? So these are the metrics that you have to keep track of. One is inventory, okay? How much of the inputs or outputs that you are producing, and how much is being kept, and how much is being sent to the customer already. And you can see that these are in the thousands, 250,000, 300,000. It could be, whatever that is. And another type of inventory that they are keeping track of, but in this case, it's units. In this case, it's dollars, okay? So the units can be different from dollars. Similarly, back order, that is, okay, the customer wanted it, there is demand for your product, but you haven't been able to supply it, right? In that case, it's called a back order, and you don't want too much of back order. And in this case, you can see that the back order goes up, and then you increase your production and it falls. So you have to keep track of the production process to meet the needs of the customer that you can see. And similarly, then cash flow. How much money is coming in and going out, and you can see that there's a lot of it is happening in negative, so you are losing money, and sometimes you are above zero, so you are gaining money. So you have to keep track of it. The point is, you have to know how your supply chain is performing and how well you are able to move the product, as you saw there. For instance, you can click on this particular thing. So here in this particular two stocks problem, you have to figure out, okay, this is based out of, I believe, like North Carolina, okay? You have to figure out whether you are going to have two different locations to distribute your product, or only one location and directly distribute from that location. And case one and case two, the costs are all given here. And as you can see here, as of now, in the beginning times, okay, case one is cheaper than case two. That is, case one is one port usage is cheaper than the other one. Okay, let me just speed it up, and you can see that case one is always cheaper. So it's not like you have to always have more and more of distributors for a long period of time. But then if after, 2-3 years, after 5 or 10 years, you can see that case one has become more expensive. Case two, that is having two distribution centers, may be more relevant for you. So the things can change. And how will you know what you should do? For that, you have to keep track of all these different type of logistic network, and then compare different logistics network and figure out whether something makes sense for you or not. Okay, so that is very important. And that is your second principle, that is you have to customize your logistic network. Who are your retailers? Who are your distributors? Where are they located? Are there any other options that will save you money? Right now, this is cheaper. Down the road, will it be cheaper? Okay, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, when your business expands, what is happening. So you have to think about all these things, and that is very important. Okay, so having said that, now we are in the third one, that is align demand planning across supply chain. Before I move on, were you able to see my screen? Were you able to see the way how I moved from one model to another model?
Yes.
Okay, so hopefully you are able to, keep track of all those things. Okay, next is very, very interesting, in my opinion. Okay, in fact, when you go to Columbus campus, you will study a course called AEDE 3000. Some of you will go to Columbus campus, which is quantitative decision making. That is, how do you use the numbers to plan for the future? Okay, that's very important. So I'm just going to go ahead, share the screen again. Okay. The third one is align demand planning across the supply chain. So what do we do for this? Where are we? Okay. I'm unable to click on my these links. Are you able to click on it or not on you at your end? Hello, guys. Are you okay? That's fine. Somebody wrote to me saying that
I'm not able to do it now.
You're not able to do it? Oh my God, I should not have put that box around it. I thought I was trying to help you or highlight it, and then this is what is happening. So, okay, so maybe I will copy this and send you the link. Okay, so I am going into my Zoom and I'm sending you this link. Okay, some person is able to do it, it seems. So I sent you a link just now. You are welcome to click on that. And I'm going to click on that as well. And it should open an Excel file. Okay, so when you click on that Excel file, okay, it opens this link. In this one, you see this third one that says forecasting simple things to do. Okay, so we know that there is demand. We know that we are going to produce and move it. Now we have to forecast the future so that we can prepare and move it across the supply chain. So how do we forecast? And that is where this particular Excel sheet can be pretty interesting. So I will show you different things you can do with Excel. Excel is a very useful tool, and I want you to really seriously consider learning Excel for quite a few things. Okay, so once you are there, you click on this button called data. Okay, so what are we doing? This is like selling lemonade, and there are a total of about I have data for the last 45 days, for the last 1.5 months in summer, okay, or winter, whatever it is, and the lemonade sales and how it has gone over time. Now I want to project it for days 46 through 59. Why? Because I need to know how much amount of lemons I need to buy, how much amount of water, how much amount of sugar, and anything else that goes along with it, the cups or the glasses and whatever it is. So I have to figure out how much I am going to do this. So one of the first things you can do is, when it comes to Excel, when you forecast, you can simply go there and then you can insert a chart. So I'm just going to go ahead. Nope, I have to insert an XY chart, I think. So this has been my sales, as you can see, okay? So what can you say? Would you say that my sales are going up over time? Yes or no? Looking at the data. I'm waiting for an answer.
Yeah.
Okay, the sales are going up. Now I need to forecast it. Now, if I forecast it, I can simply take a pen and then draw like this. But then Excel provides you with very interesting ways of doing things. So one of the first things you can do is click on data on your computers. Okay, so data is over here. Under data, you will see something called forecast sheet. Okay, you see this button, forecast sheet. So that is what you are going to do. And how do we do that? So let me go ahead. So I have this, and let me forecast the sheet, and it's asking, hey, this is the forecast, and given this data, days and sales, and I can make it projected like this. Okay, and then you can see there are 3 lines that are being shown. So this is the average sales that is being expected. This is the higher amount, and this is the lower amount. So the difference between the higher amount and lower amount, it's called as confidence bounds, okay, or confidence intervals. So this gap is called a confidence interval. The moment I do it, and immediately it creates a forecast. It says, okay, if this is their sales on these particular days, then these are the lower bounds and these are the upper bounds, and these are the averages, and you can see that this is the forecast. You guys see what is happening here? So these are the numbers, and the software uses some advanced statistical techniques to project the future sales. Now, what do you guys think? Knowing something like this, will it help you project the future or plan your supply chain? Yes, that's the point. So it's very, very important that you learn how to forecast and also how to use the tools that are available for you. And in this case, it's Excel. You can use other software as well, and Excel is ready to use software. So I thought I will mention that to you. Okay, and what did we do? We essentially put the data in a sheet. Okay, the days. So on that particular day, this is the sales, and then we went into data, and there we went into forecast sheet. Okay, so that's what we have done. But then you can also project it with some other type of variations. For instance, you could see that there is a bit of variation over time, and that variation can also be brought into your projections. So you can do that. And so when it comes to this, okay, if you click on the options, you can see a whole bunch of options. Forecast start, forecast end, confidence interval, seasonality, set manually. I can change it to like a 7-day. Why am I choosing 7? Because it's daily data, how much, in every week, there are 7 days. Maybe I'm selling more on the weekends and not much on weekdays, and I want to capture that seasonality. In that case, I can put 7. Okay, and if it is monthly data, then you can probably put 12. You see that? So all these things. So immediately you can see that how the things change. Or if it is like an yearly data and you have it for the past 30 years and you want to project it to the next 20 years, you can do different things. So the point is, you can use these type of seasonality requirements, and immediately you can see what is happening to the data. And that is something that very relevant for you to consider. Okay. Now, there is another type of forecasting, and this is the simplest thing. You want to say that you predict that your sales on 21st day is simply the average of all the past 20 days. Okay. Now, where did I come up with? I just randomly came up with the number and I did it. Then the 22nd day will be an average of day 2 through day 21. So essentially, I'm just going to pull it down like this. You see that? So I can use the 20-day average, and I can predict, what will be my sales on that particular day. But then when you do these kind of averages, it's not like it's 100% correct. Sometimes it will be pretty close. Sometimes it will be totally off. For instance, 5, 4.7, 5, 4.75. So they are very close to each other. But on day 23, you actually sold 7, but you predicted only 4.7. So maybe it's not such a great thing because it's missing out quite a few things. But moving average is one way how you can predict the future things. So what is the formula for that? You can simply type, formula text, that is the formula. So this is the formula I used. Average of B27 through 46. So I took the last 20 days average and I predicted that this will be my demand in the future. Okay, so this is one way to do that. There is another way to do that, and that is, let me put it this way. So you have the same data, okay, or actually I put this thing graph here, right? So in this lemonade sales graph, okay, you can you click on the data, right click, and you see add trend line. Okay, click on that. And it asks you, what type of trend line do you want to add? You can either add a linear trend line, and you can even project it. Where is the way to project it? I cannot project it. Okay, I think I can project it. Otherwise, I can do an exponential smoothing kind of projection or logarithmic. Maybe this is a really bad fit because it's not actually going towards the trend that we are seeing there. Or you can use a polynomial. Okay, there are different types of polynomials, but then you have to ask yourself whether that makes sense or not. Or there is a different type of projection or moving average. You remember the 20-day moving average I told you? So you can do all these different things. So the question is, you have to ask yourself, what is the type of projection I want and whether it makes sense or not. The point is, you have to learn to project, and Excel is a very useful tool. Okay, that's all I want to do. And hopefully you will get the hang of it. And we will touch upon this using another software that I showed you for anylogic. There is a very similar one. Actually, within the anylogistic, they also have a free software. It's called anylogistics with an X at the end. And in that, we can also project the future demand for the product. And you will see very various ways of projecting the demand for the future. Okay, that's called distribution fitting, and quite a few things that you will come across. Okay, so coming back to our discussion on supply chains. So where is the supply chains? Here it is. So align the demand planning across the supply chain, and you have to project this at different levels. So when you are getting your inputs, you have to project how much you want to buy, and also you need to project it for the distribution center and the customer. And you have to coordinate your projection with that of your other supply chain partners. Okay, so that's one important thing. The next one, okay, before we move on, do you find this type of information useful? I hope I shared the screen. Did I or not?
No.
Okay, good. So Excel is very useful and you can do that. Let me go ahead, share the screen again. Okay, let me just make a point at that. The next one is, okay, so you know that you have demand, you have planned the demand, the quantities. Now you have to figure out, which product should be produced and moved to the customer. And the supply chain principles say, hey, you don't make the choices for the customer. Try to keep your options open as much as possible, because the moment you make a product and you seal it, let us say you are making chips and you make barbecue flavor. Well, I'm not a big fan of barbecue flavor and I would never buy the product. Okay. And if you are selling to a particular city or state where people don't like barbecue flavors that much, probably all your barbecues will be gone bad. So why not you wait until the last minute to make it relevant for the customer? And if you ask me whether there is a real world example, and the answer is yes, there is something called make or build your own laptop. And many of you might have, gone to the store and they would ask you, what type of laptop do you want? And they will say, okay, you can buy a pre-existing configuration, okay? Otherwise, you can build your own PC. So when you build your own PC, it will give you a whole bunch of options. So what are the options? Here, 12th generation Intel Core i5 processor. My computer uses i5, but I feel like i5 is not relevant for me. I want i7 or i7 i270, okay? Just for the fun of it, I'm going to click on the high end. Why? Because I can just do it, okay? So once I click, then actually, has Lenovo built a computer? No, not yet. And they are waiting for me to tell what I want. Okay. And after that, operating system, Windows 11 Home. Who cares about Windows 11 Home? I want Windows 11 Pro. Okay. So I'm just going to click on that. And I don't want to talk to Diego. Yes, I want to end the chat. And then operating system, okay? Do you want English or Spanish? I know nothing about Spanish except Hola, so I am not going to choose it. I'm going to stick with this. And Microsoft Productivity Software, which one do I want? I want 365 Personal, Family. See, now if they have already uploaded all this software, if they have uploaded Personal, okay, probably that's not going to meet my needs because I probably don't need it, and I probably need Adobe Acrobat Standard 2020 and then Microsoft Home and Business 2021. So by not creating the laptop and asking for the customer needs, and I am the customer here, and as you can see here, as I add, this number keeps changing, okay? 8 GB, who cares about it? I want 16 GB because that's faster. So I'm going to choose that. And the number again increased by, another $149. And then 32 GB RAM. So add another $522. So I am able to customize. Oops, I added, okay, that was already there. And it said add 522, but then did not add 522 here. It added only 300. Maybe there are some other type of savings going on there. I don't know. But the point is, you get the idea. Okay, you can customize, or you wait until the customer tells you what type of gaming laptops do you want. In case of agriculture, agricultural products, you can also wait until the last minute to figure out whether the customers really need that particular product, and you wait until you get their inputs before you manufacture the product. Okay, and why are we talking about manufacturing? Because that is what supply chains do. They move the product, they create the product, and they move it from one place to another place. And they want to make sure that they give it to the customer in the form that they want. And if you create a product that's already ready to go, maybe the customer may not want that particular product. They may want a different type of product. So you have to figure out how you are going to customize the needs of the customer. And how will you know? By keeping the options open. And that is exactly what principle number 4 says. Keep your options open. Okay, so that is principle number 4. Differentiate the products close to the customer. In fact, if you go to the PowerPoint slide, there are various ways how you can think about this customization option. Okay, so let me go ahead. I think I'm sharing the screen. So there are various ways how you can customize. So now you can produce based on your forecast, or you can actually produce based on the customer demand. So when you see the gray highlight, that means it's based on your forecast that you used to create that you created in the Excel sheet. Whereas if it is white background, it is based on the customer order. So let's go ahead and look at this. So there is a process called make to stock. You source the inputs, you make it, you assemble it, you put it in boxes, and you take it to the retail store, and everything is in gray color. That means everything is made according to your projections. You don't talk to the customer, you don't figure out what the market needs. In this case, it's called as make to stock. You make it and you stock it. So where would this be relevant, or where do you see this often? You will see this in the chips. Maybe I'm hungry, I think right now I keep talking about chips. Not the computer chip, the actual potato chips. You can see that there are 5 or 6 flavors that you produce, or 25 flavors that you produce. You source, make, pack it up, and you send it to grocery stores where they will be sold. In this case, there is something called distribute to order. So you make the same things, you buy the product, you buy the inputs, you make it, you assemble it, but you wait. You don't know whether you should send it to, say, East Coast or West Coast or in the Midwest. So you are going to wait until the sales order come in. And in that case, you are following the process or the strategy of distribution to order. Distribute to order. So after the order comes in, you will decide where it is going. In sales, you are sending it to the retailer because you already have an agreement with them. In this case, you don't. That is why you are waiting for the order. Now, forecast drive the supply chain management. That's what you are seeing here. In this case, there is a lot of gray highlights. That means the forecast that you made is driving this. Now we are going to make it more flexible. So in this case, you source your inputs, you make it, but you wait to see whether customers want it or not. So Lenovo is a really good example. They source their inputs from all these different chip manufacturers from China and the plastic that goes into laptops and everything, but they don't assemble it because that's the only thing they can change. If you want 32 GB RAM, then they will put 32 GB RAM instead of 16 GB. So assembly is where they make the differentiation and then they sell it. And this strategy is called as assemble to order. And this one, you just source only the inputs and you don't even make it, okay? You wait until the customer to place the order, okay? The customer, based on the customer demand and their needs, you make it. So what would be an example of this? Hey, McDonald's, right? You source all your inputs, you wait, and then you make it based on what the customer wants. Do they want a burrito, or burrito is with Taco Bell, right? Hey, it's lunchtime, I'm pretty hungry, okay? So you wait to know whether to make, some kind of, let's say Taco Bell, okay, burrito or, chalupa or something else. So you are waiting to make based on, what the customer wants. So this strategy is called make to order. Is there one more? And yes, you wait or you engineer to order. That means even the inputs that you buy, okay, you are going to wait. You're not going to buy the inputs. You are actually going to wait for customer to place the order. And based on that, your salespeople will come and tell you. And then you go to your input suppliers and you source it based on the customer demand. See, it's all white background in this case. And in this case, we say customer demand drives the supply chain management, okay? So as I was telling you, it looks like a very simple bullet point number 4. That is, you have to customize orders, but there are various ways how you can customize the supply chain according to your strategy, according to your chosen strategy, according to the product that you have chosen, whether it is an agricultural product. You can think about, various different things. But the point is you have to wait to get customers' orders in one form or another. Without knowing customers' orders in one form or another, if you go on your own, keep producing more and more of, different things, you may be sitting on too much inventory and the world has moved on and they don't want your product because your product is so 20th century, okay? Gasoline cars is one of them. Maybe right now, people are still buying gasoline cars. Maybe in another 10, 15, 20 years, people may not buy gasoline cars and you don't want to produce too many gasoline cars. Hey, you know what? GM, Ford, everybody has already taken notice, and that is why they are all going for making new products, because they want to get that new product into the supply chain based on the customer demand. What do you guys think? Is that a lot? So it seems like a simple bullet point. You have to customize the production process, supply chain according to the needs of the customer, but there are various ways to do that. Okay, assemble to order, make to stock, engineer to order, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but then we can see these are only 5 of them. There are many other strategies that you can use as part of your supply chain. Okay, and we are at 1:20. Okay, we are doing good actually. We have 15 more minutes. Any questions? I hope you're all there. 13 students are in the classroom right now, I think. So let me go ahead and share the screen because I don't want to forget it. Now let me click on the same principles. So differentiate the products close to the customer. And that is what we saw. Lenovo, and the figure that I showed you came from the book, chapter number 6, and that is relevant in the context of this principle number 4. Next one, outsource strategically. That is, you don't want to produce everything on your own. You can get it from other people. Okay. And that is where I introduced Alibaba.com or IndiaMart.com. So you can probably get these products from there, and that can really make a big difference. Okay, so in Alibaba.com, let us say I want to sell corn seeds. Okay, and ouch. I want to sell corn seeds. Okay, let me put it this way. And then it's all here, and I can choose the countries where I want to source it from, and you can see all the different countries. And I want to get it only from United States because the US government, USDA, will not let me get it from China and send it here. So in that case, here it is. So here, wholesale yellow corn. Oops. This is mostly for feed purposes, I think, and seed is not something that they sell through Alibaba.com, right? I mean, you probably go through your local salespeople or something like that. So you can get all these different things, and in these cases, they are all US suppliers. So when you click on that, and immediately you can see that you don't have to produce it. These people are already making it for you. You can buy it, and you can put your logo on it. You can make sure that the quality is according to your needs, and then you can start selling it. You see this one? So like that also, you can do different things. Now, Alibaba is the only place? No, there are lots of websites, IndiaMart.com, and there are some other websites that I came across recently where you can also find lots of other products that you can buy and sell. Now, I'm talking about China and India. I know that this is all very global, but then, you may be working on a small business, but it's nice to think of your supply chains from a global perspective. That's why I'm showing all these examples. So in food and agriculture, I studied in southern India, and let us say that cashews, most of the cashews that you eat, they come from India. Okay, they get processed in India. So let me just type here cashew, and if I want to sell cashews here, oh come on, if I simply type cashew, and you can see a whole bunch of cashew suppliers, and I'm sure you like a whole, or you want it like a broken pieces. There are different options, and many of them from southern India, where I studied my undergraduate degree, they are also coming here. Now remember that in those places the numbers are slightly different. They value the product in terms of rupees, the currency is rupees, and the units are kg. So you have to convert that into dollars and pounds, and accordingly you have to make your decision on whether to source it from them or not. So you can, if you want to sell cashews, as I just showed you, you can go to IndiaMart and find some suppliers there, and you can use it for your purposes. So you may be making a nut product. Okay, for instance, I don't know how many of you have eaten this bar, Lara bar. Have you eaten this product called Lara bar? Anybody? If you haven't, please try this. Okay, they use a lot of different ingredients. I think they use only 4 or 5 ingredients in each of their product, and it's very less processed. Okay, and they have to get all these different ingredients to make their Lara bar, right? And if you go and read their story, you can see what they do or how they come up with these different products. And they will surely need some type of nuts, in this case cashews. And where are they going to get their cashews from? Most likely from IndiaMart, those kind of suppliers over there. So in that case, they will be able to outsource strategically, because they are not going to buy land and plant the cashew trees and wait 4 or 5 years for the cashews to come out of those trees. So you have, cashew cookie, I told you, see, I remember eating some cashew cookie cereal or something like that, not the cereal, but the Lara bar kind of thing. So it's very important that you learn how these different techniques work when it comes to outsourcing strategically. So Larabar, they are not producing their own cashews. They are going to outsource the thing. Or maybe, food co-packing is another important thing. So maybe I should kind of, that is also the thing. Let's say you have a very nice grandma recipe and you feel like you want to, put that in a bottle and sell it to your customers in Ohio or anywhere else. Ouch, what happened? It's not going. So in this case, you don't want, but if you are going to be for building a big plant, that's a lot of money. It will cost millions of dollars. But then you can go to these co-packers. Okay, this Cassie's, which one did I do? I expanded it too quickly. So what is a co-packer? Co-packers manufacture and package foods for other companies to sell. These products range from nationally known brands to private labels. So you are a private label, or you may be a local brand. Entrepreneurs choose to use the service of co-packers for many reasons. Because they can customize it, they can change it, and they have already invested their money in the business. So you are welcome to go and take a look at that. And these are some of the co-packers that is something for you to consider. So let us say I'm interested in JES Foods. Ouch, it's an error. You never know, where they are in their business, right? So you probably cannot work with JES, but then there is somebody else, maybe they have a website and they will tell you how you can work with them in terms of, manufacturing that product. And that's exactly what we call as outsourcing. Okay, so co-packer is a way to outsource. And next comes, okay, before I move on to the next one, we have about 8 minutes. Any questions? So outsourcing is a very important thing that you can do. For instance, accounts. How many of you file your own taxes? I don't. It's a pain. I hate filing taxes. Okay. Sometimes Carter says he does. Okay. So you're not outsourcing. Carter, question for you. When you start and run your own business, do you think you will file your business taxes yourself as well?
I'm not sure.
That's the point. That's exactly the point. So you may not do it on your own. You may very well, hire the service of accountant who is very familiar with business law and business accounting. Would you say that?
Yeah.
You're outsourcing. Get that? So there can be different types of outsourcing. It's not just in the production process. Even when it comes to finance, taxes and things like that, you are outsourcing. So that is something to keep in mind. Having said that, I don't want to forget the sharing screen for the last two things. Develop IT that support multi-level decision making. So you really need information. Okay, for instance, when I was showing you this anylogic models, this type of supply chains you really have to have, because you need to know how much it's costing and whether you are doing a good job at making the right decisions. So you really need those inputs, and those inputs can come only if you have metrics, okay, that you are keeping track of what is happening. And you need to spend some time on learning the software, on implementing it for your supply chain to see whether you are doing right or not, which ones you should change. What happens if you increase the production rate? What happens when you, increase the safety stock? So I'm just going to, so you have to create these kind of IT capabilities, the customer 1 demand, customer 2 demand, customer 3 demand, and all of a sudden there is a corona outbreak in the factory, limited production. So what happens, and you can see that the back orders are going up significantly, and you really have to figure out, okay, LT delivery, LT stands for long term, I think. I don't know what they mean by that. And you can see that when the demand is significantly high, your back orders are going up and your profits are actually, in negative millions of dollars. But then how are you going to address the price changes when there is a big demand? You can think about it. And inventory is almost nil because there is a huge back order, and whatever you produce, it's getting sold. The point is, oh my God, back order keeps going up and up. Okay, so it's a bad idea. So what are you going to do to reduce the demand with your customer? Okay, so let us reduce the demand significantly, and we will increase the production rate. And in that case, you can see that already the back orders are leveling, and now they will start to come down gradually. Okay, and so there are different things you can do. But then the cash flow is going down and maybe it's going up. So what are the reasons why they are going up and down? You need to know all these things. And how will you know all these things? Only by developing the information, okay, the information technology. You need to make decisions very quickly, because the inputs are coming in, you process them, and you are sending that out in your supply chain. And you have to make these decisions on a daily basis, on a dynamic basis. That is, it changes every day, every week, every month, and you have to be have the information at your fingertips so that you can call your suppliers and say, I want more inputs, or you can tell your distributors that, hey, you know what, there's a problem. We are not going to send the finished product to you yet. Just wait for another couple more weeks. Tell your customer that it will be delayed. So you have to think about all these things. So you need software. That is where the information technology plays a huge role when it comes to the supply chains. Okay, and that brings us to pretty much the last bullet points, which we already covered. We know that there are lots of financial ratios. Many of you have taken your finance class, accounting class, where you created all these different ratios and things like that. If you haven't taken, believe me, I am the one that will be teaching next semester, because the spring semester courses were assigned like yesterday or day before yesterday, and I'll be the one teaching finance, and we will be talking a lot about ratios. Okay, how much accounts receivable do you have versus what are your total assets? How much cash do you have versus total assets? Or how much debt do you have and how much money have you invested on your own? These are called financial ratios, okay? And we will be covering those things in that course. But then in a supply chains class, those ratios are useful, but a little more useful would be the other one that I just showed you, right? I showed you that the amount of products in the inventory that you see here. What is the amount of back order? And, so these expense, sales, cash flow, these are financial principles. And these ones, the amount in the inventory, the back orders, or, the other types of metrics that you create. How quickly do you load and unload? Or for instance, what is the thing called? Today morning, I was reading something about Chipotle. They say that you can order a Chipotle burger, okay, but instead of paying $9, you can pay it only $3 and get the same amount of ingredients and inputs. And there is like a taco hack or something like that, and people are doing it, it seems, and they did not like it. The point I'm trying to make here is the people that are making the Chipotle burritos, they were saying, not burger, burritos, they were saying, oh my God, we are unable to meet our goals, meet our quota on how many burritos we need to make within an hour. So that is a metric that they are being measured upon, and the customers are placing some hack orders, and that kind of affects their overall productivity. And similarly, Aldi, if you go into Aldi, they don't have too many varieties of products. Walmart has a lot of variety of products, but Aldi has less. But both of them will be calculating, okay, if there is 1 square foot of space in my store, how many dollars am I making in that 1 square foot of sales? So dollars per square foot of your footprint is another type of metric that they all keep track of. How much sales you make in a week is one type, and how many dollars of sales you make in 1 square foot is another type. Okay, so there are various types of metrics that you can use that you may have to develop as part of your supply chain. If you are loading and unloading, how many boxes are being loaded within 1 hour? Okay, and if you are transporting, how many boxes come back, in good condition or not broken things inside? Or how many boxes get stolen? Okay, spillage. No, it's not spillage. It's called. There's a special term for that. people stealing from that. So those kind of things happen in supply chain, and you have to account for them. So you need to create all those different metrics. Okay, so they are the 7 principles that I wanted to share with you. And in some ways, it's lively to do this via Zoom because you can see all the things on your screen. But at the same time, it's not I can cover more material in Zoom because nobody is answering and I'm not asking too many questions. At the same time, in a classroom setting, it can be a little more lively because I can see your faces. I can see whether you understand it or not, whether you nod your head or not. Okay, so all these things matter. And your nodding heads is a type of metric, that I use in my mind to see whether you are learning or not. Okay, so having said that, we are at 1:35. Hey, it's a week, and thanks for being here. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will be recording. I already recorded this video. I'm going to post it on YouTube in case if anybody really wants to know all these 7 principles. I don't know how many of you will be watching it, but I will send it to you guys. Thanks for accommodating my request for online class. If you have any questions, ask me. Otherwise, you are welcome to log out. Have fun. I will see you on Monday in SCOW. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Connor, Morgan?